All right, so I'm here today at AFIF 2020 with Wasim Tahir, and he's here with AFIF as a sponsor this year.
Yeah.
So thank you for choosing to sit down with us for the interview. We're really glad to have you on camera and keen to get your thoughts.
Yeah, fantastic. Just to introduce myself, I'm Wasim Tahir. I've been with CDC Group for about maybe a year and a half.
Right.
And I'm just impressed by the organisation. It is the world's oldest development finance institution. We've been going for around 70 years.
Yes.
And investing in financial services has been kind of one of our pillars from the start. We helped form the DBS in Singapore. We invested in Malaysia Building Society. These are DFCU in Uganda. These are investments we made decades ago. And our first foray into microfinance was an investment in ProFund, which was an equity fund that invested in microfinance across Latin America in the mid-90s. And right now we have a portfolio of about 3 or 4 microfinance investments, NBFCs. We've also got a couple of banks in our portfolio.
So you were in microfinance before it became a buzzword, so to speak.
Exactly, yeah.
Just as an aside, why does CDC like microfinance?
So CDC's, it's a development finance institution. For us, impact is incredibly important. If we look at our 2 main sectors that we invest in, it's financial services and it's infrastructure.
Right.
They make up about 50 to 60% of our portfolio, and that's because they're the foundational sectors, right? You need infrastructure, you need lights, energy, and you need money to finance things, right? And then within financial services, financial inclusion is a huge developmental goal for us.
Okay.
Bringing in people into the formal financial services.
So that would mean you're very supportive of the SDGs as well, I'm supposing.
Absolutely. They underpin a lot of what we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So what do you think makes a financial inclusion initiative successful, in your opinion, or from what you've seen in your work with CDC?
Yeah, absolutely. When we look at firms focused on microcredit, micro-lending,
yes,
microfinance, it's not just about extending credit, right?
Okay.
It's about having a mission to promote financial inclusion, right? And that's really important because what we like to see is microfinance firms that are doing things beyond just extending credit. So helping to improve financial literacy, helping to promote customer protection principles to prevent over-indebtedness. There's a whole ecosystem approach you can take to promoting financial inclusion. And credit is just one element of that.
Understand. So what do you think are maybe new spaces that key players or players interested to get into the space should be looking at? Key spaces that aren't filled yet?
Innovation. I mean, innovation, the word is bandied about everywhere, but in reality right now, you've got digital business models springing up, right? There's no legacy infrastructure, there's no manual processes, it's all automated workflows. They're using digital distribution models like the internet, like mobile. Those business models are very attractive and they can penetrate faster and further than traditional business models in the microfinance space.
Right. So what would be the, say, hot countries that you're looking at developing at the moment? Do you have any particular projects that you would point out?
So CDC invests in Africa and South Asia.
Okay.
We don't do broader emerging markets. And that's because we think the bottom billion of the world's population reside in those countries, and that's where we can have the most impact. Right? So our priority markets, are in those regions really. So we do in Asia. We do a lot of work in India. It's our biggest portfolio. In Pakistan, we invested in a bank there. We've just given a loan to BRAC Bank in Bangladesh. Last year we invested in NMB. We gave them a loan.
So who are the key people that you're looking up to partner with or to fund in this case?
Really, if you're in the financial inclusion space,
yes,
right? You know, we're open to hearing from you.
Yes.
What's really key for us
Yes.
is management team,
All
right?
right.
We
Okay.
look for those companies with a capable management team, right? And a management team we can build a relationship with, because everything else we can fix. Right, we
Okay,
can work with
okay.
management team to kind of change the board.
course.
We can work with management team to improve operations. In fact, we're an active investor, right? So
Right.
that's something we will bring to the table.
Understand.
But the management team is, you know, the capability and the relationship with them is key.
So that would mean that makes it more attractive to foreign investors as well, right? If they have a good management team. Because
Absolutely.
I think there's some institutions or organizations that struggle with attracting foreign investment, and maybe they don't know why. And so you're saying management would be one of the keys.
Absolutely, especially because if foreign investors, you know, they're not going to necessarily be with you on the ground all the time. They can't.
Okay.
You know, CDC.
Right.
You know, we are largely based in London, although we have regional offices now.
Okay.
Um,
In Asia as well?
In Asia, yes. So we're with Pakistan, India.
Okay.
We've hired someone in Bangladesh. We're hiring someone in Myanmar.
Right.
Management team we can trust. Key.
Okay. And how much influence would you say that you search for as an investor when investing with an organization or institution?
So one of the requirements that we place on an investment
Okay.
is a board seat,
Okay.
because we can affect a lot of change through having a board seat. Right?
Okay.
So that's one way that we're quite involved. The second way we're quite involved is we like to plan initiatives with the potential investee and what we can do when we're invested,
Right.
And there's a number of things that we can do. We can help the investees improve their operations.
Right.
We can help investees advance certain things like gender and climate change.
Okay.
You know, our ultimate aim is to really work with them to have impact and help,
Okay.
you know, promote financial inclusion.
So, coming back to the point, you talked about innovation. That's like a space that's still open and more people should move into. So, when it comes to how to approach market saturation, would you say that people should push in the direction of innovation?
Well, in financial inclusion, if the market's saturated, then it's job done, right? No, but on a serious note, I think it's a constantly evolving game, right?
Right.
You know, customer needs will change over the course of time.
Right.
Customer needs change over their own lifetimes.
Okay.
And you as an organization, right, have to follow the customer through their life journey, right?
Right.
And evolve with them. Secondly, if you've got a business model that's working in a particular market and, you know, it's now reaching saturation point, take that model and apply it elsewhere. You know,
Got it.
There's many underpenetrated regions out there. And so that's something else that we encourage
Right.
kind of investees.
So there's no need to just kind of herd to a certain location, dissipate, spread out.
Replicate your successful business model, right?
Right.
The aim is to advance financial inclusion. So if it's working in one region, let's see if it can work in another region.
And lastly, you know, you said that you think that forums like this one are quite, you know, influential in a way, or they're instrumental in bringing key players together. And that was part of why you wanted to return this year, right? As a sponsor.
Absolutely. I think forums like this bring investees and investors together, and there's so much dialogue that happens, right? I'm sure there's so many deals, the foundation for which will be laid
Right.
today, right? So that's why we like these forums, that's why we come here, that's why we want to talk to potential investees. We want them to come and talk to us, get to know us, and it's great.
And how do you feel about the people who are here and the quality of the meetings and things like that?
It is fantastic, and also I've got to commend the panel discussions as well. They're super interesting. Like I never tire from learning from people I hear up on stage.
Okay. Well, you were one of those interesting people, so
Well,
thank you.
I hope so. I hope someone thinks so.
I'm sure you are. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Great. Thank
All
you.
right.